All right, let's go back to that story that I went to at the break. The first flight of Afghans who worked as translators for the British Army have landed in the UK, with thousands expected to take advantage of a relocation program as a resurgent Taliban threatens those who worked with the coalition forces. It comes as the US intelligence community predicts that the Afghan capital of Kabul could fall within 6 months of America's withdrawal. To discuss this, international panel now from Sydney, co-host of Outsiders, James Morrow, and from Adelaide, host of Bernardi, Corey Bernardi. I tell you, good on the Brits. They're taking the lead here, but Corey, we must do the same.
Peter, I have mixed feelings on this because I have real worries that any visa program of this nature is liable to be scammed. But I'm going to say they've done a service to us, particularly those who have been out with our troops and translated in theatre. Those who have worked as cooks and others, I probably have a different view for. But I do note the British have pretty tough criteria on this, Peter. They get 4 months' worth of support, and then, as one person was quoted, the real struggle for these people will begin their settlement in Britain.
Yeah, I think we've got to follow that it's strictly the translators. We know who they are. I'm not sure if you went to Afghanistan, but when I was there, they were in a lot of the meetings. The soldiers know who they are. They're documented. But we need to get them out before the Taliban comes and quite literally slaughters them for supporting us in the way they did. Let's go to the United States. James, I know you're a big fan of the Florida governor, as I am. But high school students in the state of Florida will now be taught about the evils of communist and totalitarian regimes, including Maoist China. This is a move from the governor, Ron DeSantis, who we think will run for the Republican Party, at least the nomination in 2024. He's been pretty tough on critical race theory as well. He's banned it from Floridian classrooms. I tell you, he's a superstar. I wish he'd come to Australia.
Oh, look, Ron DeSantis, I think, is the real hope of the side in the United States here, Peter. This move here to bring education about just the absolute horrors of communism, what it has done around the world, the 100 million people dead plus in the last century, and the fact that this idiotic idea still keeps cropping up time and time again. And, it is, of course, you mentioned critical race theory, completely linked to critical race theory, because all of the proponents of critical race theory at that academic, university, postgraduate level, they are all using a Marxist formulation that replaces class, which is what Marx did, with race. So, yes, it's great that they are banning critical race theory, but it's also important to know why. And the why is because it is based on Marxist ideology that has killed 100 million people around the world in the last century. Good on Ron DeSantis. I would love to see more states in the U.S. do it. And frankly, given the state of our curriculum here and some of the comments Alan Tudge had yesterday, I'd love to see them do something similar here in the Australian curriculum.
Yeah, Alan Tudge is certainly firming up his language, but he's only one vote in the room, isn't he, Corey, when they deal with the national curriculum? All the state education ministers have their say, and some are sound and some certainly are not. We know in the Senate they passed a motion to say that critical race theory has got no place in the national curriculum. You're a former senator, you might disagree, but it's a bit of a toothless tiger, the old motion, unless someone in government takes it on board.
Peter, because I've been a senator, I know it is a toothless tiger. You're absolutely correct. It's virtue signalling and it has no impact on anything, really. But you've got to get people on board. You're right about Alan Tudge, of course. He's one voice. But the federal government has billions of dollars that it hands out to the education system every single year. And they should be insisting upon better standards. I'm tired, and I remember advocating, why are we throwing billions more dollars at education without any literacy or numeracy prerequisites to getting that money, the improvements in that space? And they said, oh, we'll work at that later on. Well, it hasn't worked for a very long time. Now it's time to put the standards in and to apply them and say, unless you deliver these sorts of results, we are not going to be throwing money at you anymore. And then see what the states do.
Yeah, and look, I've got a cost-free idea. I mean, the national curriculum, or the lesson plans that our kids are taught in schools right around the country, they should be on state education websites. I should be able to look at them, anyone in the media, parents, grandparents. We should all be able to interrogate what our taxes pay for kids to be taught, because I think what goes on too often, Corey, is the parents don't understand until perhaps something blows up at school or material comes home. That's the problem.
Yeah, it is. Parents are kept in the dark, and a lot of parents don't get involved actively with the school. And when their children come home with stories or tales, sometimes there is a little bit of suspicion. But when you do follow up, you realise just how bad it can be in some of these areas. My kids, fortunately, have been through the schooling system. We were very active parents with it, and they were very determined to let us know what was going on in the school. And I just would encourage more parents to do the same. But your idea is a free one, and it's a cracker of an idea, Peter.
Free idea, easy, there you go, you can run with that. You can own it, Corey, it's your idea. Okay, let's go to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. I can't believe it. Almost every day we get something stupid from them, or their hypocrisy is exposed, or their facts are not proven to be facts at all. They reportedly knocked back the title, the Earl of Dumbarton, for their little son Archie, because it contained the word dumb. According to the UK Telegraph, Meghan and Harry rejected the title because they thought Archie might get bullied over it. Now, come on, James Morrow. If they want a title and the Queen's going to give them an earldom for their little boy, just take it and run with it, surely.
Oh, I could not believe that, this that Zoolander Prince Harry here, is so that these guys really thought they were being such geniuses here by looking at it and going, oh, hey, it's dumb. Maybe it's so ridiculous. I do think that there is somebody dumb or some dumb people in this story, but I don't think it's the little boy. I don't think it's Archie, and I don't think it's the Queen. So do the maths.
I tell you, Chris Kenny calls them the ginger and the whinger. I think he's absolutely spot on. He should trademark that one. Corey Bernardi, James Morrow, as always, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.